All right. So I think maybe the sound is working this time. I don't know what that was. Thank you for finding try two. First try, the sound was just, I don't know, not the way it was supposed to be. So anyway, I am just going to start again. Welcome to a Thursday night card class with CJ Card Creations. My name is Christy Hillock, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm so grateful that you're here tonight. Whether you're joining me on the live or if you're watching me on the replay, I really appreciate it. Thanks for letting me know the sound is good. It's good to see you again. I'm glad you found it. Um, let's see. So, as you may know, every month I pick a technique that I am going to teach for 3 weeks in the series, and something different about each week, some spin on the technique. So last week I did heat embossing with color, any color of ink, and so you can see the flower and the sentiment are embossed, and I know it is a little bit tough to see that, but you can kind of get the shine there. So tonight is all about embossing on vellum, which I think is a really neat technique. It just really steps up the look of a card. And hopefully you will enjoy that. And then the final week in the series is actually let's see, not going to be until the 28th because I am taking next Thursday off. So, oh, I'm glad you liked last week's. So just know there will be something here for you next Thursday, but the final class in the series will be on June 28th. And once the month or the series is over, if you have put in an order of $35 or more during the month using the host code that I'll put in the description of this video afterwards, then you will receive kits to make all 3 of those cards. And part of what I'm doing with all the samples that I show each week is showing you how to use what you already have in your stash to do the same technique. So let me know if you ever have questions or if what I just said doesn't make sense, because I'm a little bit discombobulated at the moment. So anyway, so yeah, otherwise, things that I wanted to tell you, I have another in-person class on Monday, August the 8th at 6 p.m. And there will be a link in the description of the video for that class. So make sure you register because my classes do tend to get pretty close to full. And then there is a new paper pumpkin coming, and this one is so pretty. It's called Sweet Sunflower, and it's got a watercolor technique look to it. There's some, oh, hey, Aunt Pat, I'm glad you're here. Thank you both for sharing too. Um, it's also got some kind of twist technique that I don't know what they're talking about, so I'm excited to see what that is. And it includes a free gift of honeycomb lattice gold sheets, and they are gorgeous, and you can use them on so many projects. I think that's going to be spectacular. Thank you for joining me. So yeah, I think that that is a kit that you are not going to want to miss. It makes 9 cards. It includes 2 ink spots, which normally they just use 1. So it's a little bitty ink pad. They're always sitting around until I actually go looking for them. So it's little, but it's super easy to use, and you just get right to inking and have exactly what you need. So you'll have 2 colors for this next kit. So it is going to be a good one. And then with the paper pumpkins, during celebration, if you do a prepaid subscription, then you also earn free products from the celebration catalog. So that's kind of the only time during the year that I pay for paper pumpkin. I do the prepaid so that I also get those free products. So that is that. And speaking of celebration, so it started on July 1st and goes through August 31st. Everything included in that catalog is while supplies last. And let me just tell you, we already sold out of the soft sea foam and pool party card bases and envelopes, which, what is it, like the 12th or something? No, I don't even know, the 14th. So yeah, selling out on the 12th of the first month was kind of shocking for pretty much all the demonstrators. So If you saw something in that catalog that you want, you make sure you go get in your $50 or $100 order so that you get that most important free item, because they do seem to go fast. And some of them are spectacular. The tree lot dies I'm going to focus on, I think, for the last week of the month. The oh, definitely for the 28th, the class on the 28th. And it's a huge die set, and it coordinates with a stamp set that's in the mini catalog. And it is just so fun, and you can do so many different things with it that I really would not miss that one. So tonight we are actually going to focus on one called the Stylish Sketches, and I'll show you all of that here in just a minute. But otherwise, I think that's really all that I wanted to talk about right now. So I do a drawing every week, and if you have shared the video from last week and also written in the comments of this video that you shared, then I enter you in this drawing. And this round, Renee Acker won. So congratulations, Renee. I will get a pack of 4 cards to you and get it in the mail. So I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera, and there we go. Uh-oh. Can you still hear me? Oh my gosh. StreamYard has updated or something. So let's see. Maybe if I do that. Okay, there's the sound. I don't understand why all these software companies think they need to update, because seriously, I really like it when things stay the same. So this is Renee's set of cards. So congratulations. And then before I get started on tonight's project, I need some help. So this is one of the cards. So this is a sneak peek for my August class to go, which is going to use the Perched in a Tree bundle. And this chubby little bird is so cute. And the dies are fantastic doing this whole tree look. So I'm really excited about it. This was the first time I'd pulled it out because it just came today. But on this card, I would love to see what you think, whether we should do that little leaf embellishment. I don't know, I could move it around or do something different, but anyway, that, or I could use these amazing gold sequins. So let me know which you like better. And this is one of those cards that almost I could do without any embellishing, but I mean, why would you skip the bling when you could add some bling? So let me know what you think. And I showed this earlier, but I'm just going to see if I can get a slightly better look at the shine from the embossing. And video just does not show up certain things. So, all right, we will get going. I'm going to dig out from my pile here. So the 2 stamp sets that we're going to use tonight are both, all right, I'm kind of with you, Pat. I think the sequins are probably going to win, but the leaf trinkets are really pretty too. So I'm going to have to figure out how to use those somewhere. So the 2 sets that we're going to use tonight are both from the Celebration catalog. This is a $100 item, so spend $100 and you can get this stamp set, and it has a ton of different sentiments, and they're kind of like builder sentiments, so you can, you know, use one of the big words and then one of the little sets, or however you wanted to do it. And then the Stylish Sketches is going to be the focal images that we'll use. And so I actually used all of the stamps in that stamp set. One of the things that I like to do as I'm designing is to just stamp everything or cut out every die just to get a feel for how it works, how it looks. So that is what I did when I was designing tonight's class. And for tonight, we are going to use this, I think he's a fox, maybe a coyote, I don't know. We're going to call him a fox. And that's got that. And then the sentiment that we're going to use, I can't even remember, is "You've got this." So I'm just going to get my my stamps all mounted and ready to go. There are so many in this set that it takes me a minute to find what I'm looking for. There it is. So one thing you may not know about these photopolymer stamps is they're really sticky when you first get started with them. And then they kind of lose their sticky if you stamp with them a bunch. And so you can always just go and wash them with some dish soap and then let them dry and all the stick will be back. So I'm not 100% convinced that I got that mounted as straight as I wanted. So I am just actually going to ink it up with some black so that I can see what I'm doing and stamp it down here. Maybe let you guys see what I'm stamping. I guess that's straight enough, so we'll call it good. I appreciate the fox input. I mean, that's kind of what I was going for, but I don't know. I don't think there are that many foxes in the zoo. Although, we do have foxes at the farm across the street from our house, so that always is fun when we hear them barking or if we catch a glimpse of one. So this is the card that we are going to make. So I've done the sentiment and the fox in black embossing on vellum. Oh, and you know what? I don't know if I pulled that ribbon, so I'm going to have to figure out what that is. And then, oh, seriously, this paper is amazing. So it is from the, I want to say Gingham Cottage. So anyway, I'll show you the other samples. So my ducks to another year together, I thought that was a really cute anniversary card or friendship or however you wanted to use it, but they are just so sweet. And then this one, okay, so here I'll let you in on a little secret. That stamp is just a texture stamp, which if you've watched me for very long, you know that I always like the texture stamps. But it is this one, and it is only supposed to be dots. And when I was making this card, so I was stamping in Versamark, which is clear, so I couldn't see what I was doing, and I was just kind of stamping it a bunch of times. And I caught the edge almost every single time. And so when I embossed it, I decided, oh, that kind of looks like hills or something. So that's what we're calling it. And then I don't know if that's radishes or beets or I don't even know, but I colored it like something red and then just did some more embossing with the sentiment there too. So that is my set of samples. Now I do feel like all of these could be fairly masculine, especially if like you took the bow off of there or, you know, even just, yeah, really, I think you could give this to a man pretty easily. So we will get going on that once I find my ribbon, because of course that will be important to have. So I keep all of my ribbon in a drawer because I don't really know what the best way to store a ribbon is. I know Stampin' Storage has really nice like racks that will hold them upright, but I don't have that, and I just decided that that sounded like too much work. So anyway, they just all get thrown in. All right, so to get started on this card, I have a piece of vellum that I have cut, and I am just going to make sure that I set this on my grid paper straight so that my stamping goes straight as well. And I'm going to do this in 2 steps because I don't want, I don't know, I just decided that would be easier. I might be wrong. But we will center this up at the top here. Get that. And then I'm going to bring in my little box of black embossing powder. And I'm really glad that this card is relatively simple because all of the fiddling around with the sound and whatever has kind of taken more of your time than I'm into tonight. So now that I've got that one, I guess actually I can probably heat emboss everything in one go. So it is nice, even though it's clear, you can see the shine that shows that it is inked. Renee, I'm glad you're here. You won. So congratulations. I'll be getting some cards to you. And we are just in the middle of heat embossing a cute little fox. So now that that is there, I can get some powder here. Now this is, you know, somewhat of a precarious way to do things, which is just how I tend to roll. But if the piece was any bigger than your box, you would just want to have a scoop that you would, like scoop it up with. So before I turn on the blower, I'm going to close everything up and get it out of the way. And I always like to let my embossing tool heat up before I put it on my paper because I don't want to scorch the paper. And then it also gives me time to realize that I've got a little bit of powder where I don't want to emboss. So get that off of there. Now I think this is hot, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in, oh, look how fast that goes. Once it's hot, it's amazing. And you just don't want to scorch this, and if you aren't careful, it'll also make this paper curl. So quick and simple to get those embossed. All right, I'm going to let that sit for just a second because I don't want to smear the powder as it's kind of trying to dry. And then the other thing that I did was just stamped the fox on the inside of the card as well to tie it all together. So I can bring back in this Memento ink. And since my Versamark is clear, I don't have to clean it before I ink it up with a different color. So that's always handy. And then I just want him kind of walking into the picture. So stamp him off like that. And now I can get that adhered to the inside of my card. And then we'll be ready to add the final touch to our little fox. Oh, I am out of seal. Oh, it's just not going to quite get us there. That's funny. All right, so in the interest of time, and because I honestly don't know where my next skill refill is, I'm just going to add some tear and tape to the bottom here. Normally, I reserve tear and tape for 3D projects because it's pretty strong, but it's certainly fine for this as well. And we'll just center this up on the inside. And I did use Sahara Sand card base for this. So before I put the cardstock in place, I want to actually get my vellum adhered to it. So that's why we're kind of holding on for a second before we do that. And I was just going to verify real quick which designer series paper I used. And it is the Gingham Cottage, just in case you were trying to figure out what I'm up to. So, all right, I am going to bring in one of my fabulous Stampin' Blends. So these are alcohol markers, so they dry really fast and they blend nicely. So you don't have, this like streaky look to your coloring when you're using regular markers. So I just flipped this over to the back side, And I'm using my brush tip actually because I just don't need to be terribly precise for this. And I don't really want to spend a bunch of time on it either. So the brush tip is a lot faster. You just kind of want to try to stay in the lines for the most part. So you can always add more ink if you decide that you didn't get enough with the first pass. I am using the light Cajun Craze marker this time, but I believe the first time I did it, I actually used the dark Calypso Coral. So I think it's kind of personal preference and what you grab fastest. So, all right, now what I want to do is just bring in a little strip of my Terran tape, and I am going to adhere this vellum just in the center because I don't want my adhesive to show, and I can wrap the ribbon right around that section to hide what I do have to use. So get this knotted nicely. And yeah, I don't usually think of coloring on vellum, and I actually honestly had to look up how to do it because I just didn't want to mess it up. So anyway, but it works really well. And I've done I think earlier this year, I did some vellum and blends that I then spritzed with alcohol and kind of got a splotchy watercolory look with it. So that was fun too. So there's a lot you can do. You just have to remember which things you want to use at any given time. So tying just a little knot here, and I want to make sure that it's tight, but not so tight that the paper curls, because then you can't really get it to sit right on your card. So, and actually, I am just going to. So our new embossing editions toolkit includes an embossing buddy, which I failed to use on this card tonight because who knows why. And then reverse tweezers, which just work as a third hand there. And then it includes a tray, and I can't remember. I think there's one more thing. So now that we've got our nice little knot, I'm going to bring in my snips and just trim down these tails. All right. And you guys, that is seriously it. So all I have to do is find some dimensionals and pop this baby up, and our fox is good to go. So hopefully you like the little tricks and tips and everything that I shared tonight. And if you make a card with this, thank you. I'm glad you knew. That is also a tool that I haven't used very often, but the paintbrush is very handy because it, helps you get into kind of those smaller, more detailed areas. So, all right, I can now just mat this on here, and that is it. So I have to say, this stamp set, when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know what they're doing with that. Try to get all three of these in here. And then once I played with it, I can't get enough. So I hope that you also enjoy these projects and think about getting this stamp set and trying it out for yourself. Again, it's wonderful for masculine cards, which is always handy. So I think that's everything. So please make sure that you like and share my video and tag friends that you think might enjoy this. And thank you for being here. I won't be live with you next week, so I will miss you, but I will be live again on the 28th, and I will have something loaded for you for next week as well. So have a wonderful evening. Thank you all.